Namaste everybody. Welcome to Entry Srimad Bhagavad Gita. From chapter number 1 to we have reached chapter number 17. That is Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga. I request Godamani ji to start chanting Gita Shloka, chapter number 17.
Yes, doctor. Thank you, doctor. Shall I start now?
Yeah, please.
Om Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Om Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Saptadashodhyayah. Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yogaha. Arjuna Vacha. Yeshasya Vidimritsujya. Yajante Shraddhayanvitaha. Tesham Nishtatu Ka Krishna. सत्तमाहो रजस्तमः श्री भगवानुवाच विविधा भवति श्रद्धा देहिनां सा स्वभावजा सात्वकी राजसी चैव तामसी चेति ता शृणु सत्त्वानुरूप सर्वस्य श्रद्धा भवति भारत श्रद्धामयोऽयं पुरुषो यो यच्छ्रद्धः स एव सः यजन्ते सात्विका देवान् यच्च रक्षांसि राजसाः प्रेतान् भूतगणांश्चैन्ये यजन्ते तामसा जनाः अशास्त्रविहितं घोरं तप्यन्ते ये तपो जनाः दम्भाहङ्कारसंयुक्ताः कामरागबलान्विताः कर्षयन्तः शरीरस्थं भूतग्राममचेतसः मां चैवान्तः शरीरस्थं तान् विद्यासुरनिश्चयान् आहारस्त्वपि सर्वस्य त्रिविधो भवति प्रियः यज्ञतपस्तथा दानं तेषां भेदमिवं शृणु आयुत्सत्त्वबलारोग्य सुखप्रीतिविवर्धनाः रस्याः स्निग्धा स्थिरहृद्या आहार सात्विकप्रियाः कट्वं लवणान् उष्णतीक्ष्णरुचविदाहिनः आहार राजसस्येष्टा दुःखशोकामयप्रदाः यातयां गतरसं पूतिपर्षशितं च यत् उच्छिष्टमपि चामेद्यं भोजनं तामसप्रियम् कृष्णार्पणम्. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you very much, Godamani ji. We can start with Gita Dhyanam also. Gita Dhyanam. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Puranamunina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshiniം Bhagavatim Ashtadashaധ്യായിനിം Ambatvāmanusandadhāmi Bhagavad-gīte Bhavatveṣinim Namostuste Vyasa-vishala-buddhe Pullara-vindayata-patra-netra Yena tvaya Bharata-taila-purnaha Prajvalito gnānamayah pradīpaha Prapanna parijataya Totra vaitreka-pānaye Gnānamudraya Krishnaya Gītāmrita-duhe namaha Sarvopanishado gavo Dogdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsaha Sudhirbhokta Dugdham Gītāmritam Mahata Vasudeva Sutam Devam कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् भीष्मद्रोण तथा जयद्रथजला गान्धारी फला शल्यग्राहवीकृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोद्घटम् नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद्भारतपङ्कजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थितद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Om Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Now we will start with Bhanumati ji. Bhanumati ji, Shloka number 1 and 2.
नमस्ते सर्व
Namaste. Namaste.
अथ श्रद्धात्रय विभाग योगो नाम सप्तदशोऽध्यायः। प्रथम और द्वितीय श्लोक बताने जा रही हूँ। पिछले अध्याय का अंतिम श्लोक में श्री भगवान कहते हैं कि तस्मात् शास्त्रम प्रमाणम ते इति। इस कारण अर्जुन को ये शंका हो गया कि हर सामान्य मनुष्य को शास्त्र विधि के ज्ञान न ही संभव है। साधन मार्ग में चलने साधकों को श्रद्धा गुण अत्यंत आवश्यक है। ऐसा जन सामान्य का विचार मन में रखते हुए भगवान से एवं प्रश्न करते हैं। अर्जुन उवाच ये शास्त्र विधिम उत्सृज्य यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विताः तेषां निष्ठा तु का कृष्ण सत्वमहो रजस्तमः। वो संदर्भ इसलिए ऐसा पढ़ रहा है अभी। जो कोई साधारण मनुष्य शास्त्र विधि को छोड़कर, यानी कि उनका ज्ञान नहीं है इसलिए छोड़ता है, केवल श्रद्धा आस्तिक बुद्धि से युक्त होकर देवादि का पूजन करते हैं, उन मनुष्यों की निष्ठा कौन सी है? उनकी सात्विक स्थिति है, राजस है अथवा तामस है? ये प्रश्न अर्जुन का मन में आया है। इसका श्री भगवान ने उसका उत्तर देता है। श्री भगवान उवाच त्रिविधा भवति श्रद्धा देहिनां सा स्वभावजा सात्विकी राजसी चैव तामसी चेति तां शृणु। यह प्रश्न साधारण मनुष्यों के विषय में है, अतः इसका उत्तर विभाग किए श्री भगवान अर्जुन को समझा रहे हैं। वो ये है, मनुष्यों की वह स्वभावजन्य श्रद्धा जन्मांतर में किए हुए धर्म अधर्म आदि के जो संस्कार मृत्यु पर्यंत प्रकट हुआ करते हैं, उनका नाम है स्वभाव। उससे उत्पन्न हुई श्रद्धा 3 प्रकार की होती है। सत्वगुण से उत्पन्न हुई देव पूजादि का विषय का श्रद्धा सात्विकी है। रजोगुण से उत्पन्न हुई श्रद्धा यानी यक्ष राक्षसादि की पूजा विषय का होती है, और तमोगुण से उत्पन्न हुई श्रद्धा प्रेत पिशाच आदि की पूजा विषय का श्रद्धा होती है। ऐसे 3 प्रकार की श्रद्धा होती है, ऐसा भगवान अर्जुन को बता रहे हैं। हरि ओम तत्सत।
Thank you very much, Bhanumati ji. In the first shloka, where Arjun is asking this question about the knowledge which is coming through scriptures, and if somebody is developing Shraddha without knowing the scriptures, so what is the destiny for that kind of people? So here, what I understand is that we are having different kinds of. I once again get reminded of this very interesting example somebody had shared recently with me, where Vaishnavas had revisited the Kashi Vishwanath temple recently, just in April 2022, and the Vaishnavas, they did not enter the Kashi Vishwanath temple. So this is actually very alarming, and it shows that we all have our boundaries, we all have our lines drawn, but ultimately when we try to understand what is the truth, then the truth is that we all are one, and with still we keep on dividing ourselves into various religions, various castes, various languages, so
Yes,
on and so forth. Please do not unmute yourself unnecessarily. So here scriptures have to be followed correctly. The perspectives have to be understood correctly. The code of conduct has to be understood correctly. We sometimes become too much, rigid on the lines of scriptures. And that is where even if we have Shraddha, our practice, our Shraddha may land up into Rajas or Tamas, not the Sattvic Shraddha. So as we go on, we will understand that how Shraddha also can become Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic. Okay. Now, next one.
Namaste, Doctor.
Namaste. Namaste.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga. In the beginning of this chapter, Arjuna inquires about the position of those who are endowed with faith. In reply to this question, the Lord classifies faith into three types and points out that it is the faith which determines the character of a man. Thereafter, showing the connection of faith with worship, sacrifice, austerity, etc., he proclaims in the concluding verse that the actions of those who are devoid of faith are as good as not done. Since the three types of faith have thus been separately expounded in this chapter, it has been given the appellation of Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga, or the yoga of division of three kinds of faith. Third shloka. Sattvanurupa sarvasya Shraddha bhavati bharata Shraddhamayoyam purusho yo yachraddha sa eva saha. The faith of all men conforms to their mental disposition. Arjuna, faith constitutes a man, whatever the nature of his faith, verily he is that. Summary of this verse. The pronoun Sarvasya stands for those very men who regard the body as their self and have been referred to as Dehinam in the preceding verse. This shows that the verse speaks of the generality of men who are identified with their body. But the Lord says in the later half of this verse, whatever the nature of faith man possesses, the verily he is. The dictum can apply only to him who regards the body as his self and not to the man of wisdom who has transcended the three gunas. Man's nature conforms to the kind of actions he performs, which are either sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic, and the nature is embedded in the mind. Hence, his frame of mind is believed to reflect his nature. Hence, to call one's faith inborn is just the same as to speak of it as conforming to the one's mental constitution. Thus, there is no anomaly on the part of the Lord in speaking the faith of Swabhavaja at one place and as Sattvanurupa at another. The real being of Purusha or soul is beyond the gunas or modes of Prakriti. This verse speaks of Purusha who is seated in Prakriti and is connected with the three gunas born of Prakriti. For diversity attributable to the gunas is possible only in the Purusha who is seated in Prakriti. Diversity due to the gunas is out of the question in case of him who is beyond three gunas. Hence, there is no contradiction in speaking of the soul as para, that is wholly beyond the three gunas at one place, and as Shraddhamaya at another. The Lord points out here that a man's state or condition of being correspondent to the nature of his faith, which is either sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic, according to the frame of his mind. That is to say, the kind of faith a man possesses represents his very being. Establishing in this way the identity of faith, the state of being, and very being or self of man, the Lord answers the query of Arjuna relating to the state of being of those who worship with faith, even though casting aside the injunctions of the Shastra. Sarvam Sri Krishnarpanam. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Godamani ji. Here we have to understand that scriptures. Once again, I am coming back to the scriptures because from there the question has started from Arjun. So scriptures are not for just memorizing. Scriptures are for understanding and for imbibing into your own life. That is the essence of practicing scriptures. Okay, not just for the sake of memorizing. Please do not unmute. Please do not unmute yourself. Then what happens is that this Shraddha, which we are talking about, this is the chapter which is Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga. So Shraddha is something which is very, very internal. Okay, you may show off. You may be able to show off Shraddha through various gestures, but internally you know what kind of Shraddha you are carrying. I have gone through many personalities. You also have gone through many personalities, and we all know that who is who and what is what. And this internal characteristic of us is based on our very, very basic life values, very, very basic intentions of life, very, very basic code of conduct of life. It's very, 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 very core. And if you want to talk about the consciousness and all these things, then this Shraddha is, it is there in subconscious, it is there in unconscious state also. And that is where its true nature will be reflected. And if we talk about this Shraddha as Sattvic Shraddha, means the people who are Sattvic, the people who are Sattvic, they will not lose their way when their faith is questioned. They will not give away themselves. They will not stop anybody else's progress in life. They will not, unnecessarily analyze scriptures in a wrong manner. They will try to correctly analyze and correctly imbibe the scriptures into their lives. So finally, a Sattvic person's Shraddha will be reflected in that person's conduct in the most positive manner. Okay, thank you very much. Next one.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, namaste, Ravi Shankar, sir. Namaste, all Henry Bandhus. I am chanting Shloka number 4. Yajante swatika devan yaksha rakshasam preta bhutan
Your
ganashwani.
voice is getting cut, Ravi Shankarji. Please, can you please come
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
network,
Yes.
good network area.
Coming. So now I am audible.
Slightly better.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I am chanting sloka number 4. Yajante swatvika devan yaksha rakshamsi rajasam preta bhutan ganashwanye yajante tamasa janaha. Those in the mode of goodness worship the celestial gods. Those in the mode of passion worship the yakshas and rakshasas. Those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits. It is said that good are drawn to the good and the bad to the bad. Those in the tamoguna are drawn towards ghosts and spirits. Despite the evil and the cruel nature of such beings, those who are rajasic get drawn to the yakshas, that is semi-celestial beings who exude power and wealth, and rakshasas, powerful beings who are embody sensual enjoyment, revenge and wrath. They even offer the blood of animals to appease these lower beings with faith in the propriety of such lowly worship. Those who are imbued with sattva guna become attracted to the worship of celestial gods in whom they perceive the qualities of goodness. However, worship is perfectly directed when it is offered to God. Harihi Om Tasat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
Very nice, short and sweet explanation, Ravi Shankarji.
Thank you, sir.
That is always true that the basic nature, one's nature will attract the similar nature personalities, and one will be attracted to similar nature personalities. So that is always the qualities they attract correctly each other, and they align according to that. And the friends, the family, the followers which we get are accordingly in that kind of personalities. That is what is there. And for sattvic persons, sattvic people are all about bringing light and happiness to everybody's life. They bring divinity and purity and truth into the existence. So when a sattvic person has to worship, they will worship the purest of the pure. And then when a person who is rajasic, so obviously they are dominated by desire, they are dominated by greed, they are dominated by idea of ego, hypocrisy, arrogance, so on and so forth. So they are ready to show that cleverness, to show that shrewdness, and to show some, some kind of demonic dominance. So that is what is rajasic shraddha all about, and that kind of following into yakshas and rakshasas. And then there are so many things which we can talk about, yakshas and rakshasas and all this thing, but it's out of context for now. Some other day when we are revising this chapter, at that time we will go into the details of yakshas and rakshasas, and what is fear and what is demonic, version of happiness and pleasure and all these things. And finally coming down to tamasic faith and tamasic following, where it's dominated by, tamas is dominated by negativity, by loss of confidence, by loss of interest in the surroundings. It's more of like ignorance, and it's about, doing things which are not supposed to be done, and creating impurity, creating some desperate kind of situations. So all these things are about tamasic people, and they are generally stubborn, and they are shameless, and then they will be involved in evil activities, and they will be bringing a lot of difficulties to themselves and to the people around them. So that is what tamasic people are. And I think we will pause here for next person to speak. That is fifth shloka. So finally,
Namaste,
yeah, just I something came into my mind. I just want to express before you start. Finally, what I mean to say here is that as a person who is developing Shraddha, as a person who is developing Shraddha, we should be ready to, you know, come to a point. Samatvam yoga uchyate means we should not be selfish while we are developing Shraddha. I am developing Shraddha towards Venkateshwara because I want something, or I am developing Shraddha towards Goddess Lakshmi because I want something. That should not be our goal. Or I want something, that is why I am going to temple, that is why I'm going to do Abhishekam. No, please do not do that. Always remember, bring that equanimity within you, that whoever it is, whatever it is, whether it is Shaiva Sampradaya, or whether it is Vaishnava Sampradaya, or whether it is Shakti Puja, all these things are same. The results are supposed to be the same. The only things, ways are different, but something which I want in favor, that is why I will go towards Shiva, I will go towards Vishnu, I will go towards Shakti. Please do not do that. Thank you very much. Next one.
Namaste, Doctor.
Namaste.
Namaste to all my Henry Bandhus.
Namaste, ma.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. I am going to recite the fifth shloka. Ashastra Vihitam Goram Tapyante Etapojana Damba Ahankara Samyuktaha Kamaraga Balanvitaha. According to this shloka, people who perform horrible austerities that are shunned by laws of scripture and entrenched in ostentation, egoistic and pride, possessed with the force of desire and attachment. In a very simple manner, let us imagine that we are attending a class on electronics in the laboratory, and the teacher will not start off the class with a topic of electronics, but they introduce us to do's and don'ts in a lab in order to safeguard everyone. In a similar manner, the supreme teacher, Sri Krishna, is telling us in this shloka to give us a warning before delving into the topic of analyzing the texture of our faith. We need to stay away from people who abuse and torture themselves and others in the name of devotion, mentally or physically. None of them are sanctioned by any of the scriptures. Many put on a show of walking on hot charcoal, sleeping on a bed of thorns, on glass pieces, etc., in order to show off their feats. Instead of gaining, such people may end up harming themselves and others around them. Hence, that is what Sri Krishna is trying to imbibe in us, to be beware of them. Sarvam Sri Krishnarpanamastu.
Thank you very much for bringing up that very important topic of torture versus tapas. So you are not supposed to torture yourself while doing tapascharya. So many people, yes, definitely they go into that body. I want to torture my body so that I please the god or goddess. Please do not do that. The tapas is something which is very, very divine, and it should result in generation of energy. It should result in a kind of energy which is pure, a kind of energy which does not exude, ego, desire, and greed, and all these things. It should bring that purity and divinity into the existence. So naturally, how to do tapasya means that is everybody will be asking, everybody will be questioning. Then how to do tapasya? So tapasya has to be practiced as a day-to-day routine, not something you do specifically in Navratri or in Shravan Mas, something like that. Daily, there is a possibility of performing tapasya. How you can do it? By performing your duties correctly, by taking the path of truth, that itself is tapasya, by continuing your life as continuous process of tapasya, continuing your life with divine qualities, that is tapasya. So always remember that if you see or you observe somebody who is torturing their body, who are starving themselves to some kind of crazy things, or who are standing in this cold water or something, so many things people do, or who, as our Mataji explained about walking on glass pieces, walking on carbon, that charcoal, and so on and so forth. All these things are not correct ways of doing tapasya. So we will move on to the next one. Sixth shloka.
Jai Shri Krishna, Doctor.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.
Chapter 17, Shloka 6. Karshayanta sarirastam bhutagramama chetasah machaivantaha sarirastam tana vidya suranishchayan. There are some elements in the body, and I also dwell in that body. Here I refers to God. God himself dwells in the body. People who are ignorant weaken their body, and along with the body, they torture me. Here, me is God. These are devilish. This is the meaning of the shloka. Now, the detailed meaning is some people practice horrible austerities in the name of worshipping God. Sri Krishna says such people are ignorant and are torturing their body and making it weak. He says nowhere in the scripture it is mentioned that you should harm your body to please God. He further says that such people are not only hurting the body, but hurting me, who is residing within the body. He who dwells within the body is the witness of our thoughts and actions. Sri Krishna calls such people achetasa, meaning without chetna. Chetna means consciousness. So such people are unconscious. Such people are egoistic and greedy. Their thoughts and actions are asuric in nature. Dhanyavad. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Padmaji. Definitely, see, a tapasya, we have to develop endurance. I agree. We have to develop patience. I agree. We have to develop that steadiness. That also I agree. We have to develop self-control. That also I agree. We have to develop that idea of selflessness. That also I agree. That is what is tapasya. But it should not be something where we start affecting ourselves at the same time we start affecting others also. So body should not be a place of fight. It should not become a place of fight. It should be in such a way that our routine activities, our normal life, our normal qualities, they should not get affected. We should not start dimming down because of our tapasya. We should start glowing because of our tapasya. That is the point which we all should remember. Next one. Seventh shloka.
Shloka 7. आहारस्त्वपि सर्वस्य त्रिविधो भवति प्रियः यज्ञस्तपस्तथा दानं तेषां भेदमिमं शृणु. The food that people prefer is according to their dispositions. The same is true for the sacrifice, austerity, and charity. Here, Sri Krishna begins to explain the method by which we can analyze the textures and the nature of our own faith. The type of attitude maintained while performing an action will reveal whether our faith is sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. Sri Krishna covers the entire spectrum of actions performed by us with just four categories, that is, our intake of food, sacrifice, penance, and charity. We must learn to access the underlying symbolic meaning of the same. For example, if I were to be a teacher by profession, then earning a livelihood as a teacher becomes a yajna or a sacrifice for me. Tapas or penance is the means by which we conserve energy needed to perform our duties. Danam or charity refers to the donation of excess wealth accumulated while performing our duties. The act of charity helps reduce our level of lobha or the greed. The intake of food or the ahara is given its own category. It is different than sacrifice, penance, or austerity for a couple of reasons. Any action performed towards feeding the body gives its phala, its result. Thank you. Dhanyavad.
Thank you very much, Shashikalaji. Very nice explanation. Here,
Thank you, sir.
yeah, thank you very much. Here, we have to always we have to remember that whatever we do, our basic nature will always be Trivida, means Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. It is about food, it is about our tapascharya, it is about our yagna, it is about our dhanam. Anything, whatever we do, our speech, our sleep, everything can be divided into sattva, rajas, and tamas. So now let us be very frank about it that many people consider their faith to be the best. Many people consider their food to be the best. Many people consider their way of doing tapasya to be the best. Many people consider their way of donating things to be the best. So here, no, the who is the best kind of question. It is making you go into the Rajasic mode. So we should not take unnecessary pride. We should be happy for what we are, where we are, but we should not be unnecessarily proud of our whatever endeavors we are doing as a sadhak. The sadhana which we do has to uh, be a very it's kind of a divine journey where you don't want to show off your sadhana, or else if you are showing off your sadhana, it is for a higher purpose. That should be the idea. With that, we will go to the next one.
Namaste, Doctor.
Namaste, Padmaji, please.
आयुः सत्यबल आरोग्य सुख प्रीति विवर्धनाः रस्या स्निग्धा स्थिरा हृद्या आहाराः सात्विकप्रियाः. The essence of the shloka is food that enhances longevity, mind, strength, health, happiness, and joy, that which is juicy, oily, stable, and pleasant food, dear to one who is sattvic. Ayuhu, longevity, sattva, mind, balaha, strength, arogya, health, shuka, happiness, priti, joy, vivardhanaha, enhances, rasyaha, juicy, snigdaha, oily, shiraha, stable, hritya, pleasant, aharaha, food, Satvika Priyaha, dear to one who is Satvik. The Chandogya Upanishad describes the impact of food on our personality. It says that food we eat is divided into three parts. Majority of what we eat is rejected by the body. The second part is used to build the bones, muscles, skins, organs, and much more. The third part goes into the antakarana, comprising the emotional mind, the intellectual mind, memory, and senses. In other words, the food we eat impacts our personality in a multiple ways. Sattvic food is stable, provides long-term benefits to the body. The Pondicherry mother says, eat for living, but do not live for eating. Greed for anything concerning physical consciousness, so-called necessities, and comfort of whatever nature. This is one of the most serious obstacles to sadhana. A sadhak must eat because his body is in need of hunger and not because of the demands of his greed. Unless you control the food you take, you will always be ill. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you very much. Very nice quote by Pondicherry mother that you eat to live, not live to eat. But nowadays, as we see on Instagram, on YouTube, everywhere, there are food bloggers who have come up and they're just keeping on hogging food and motivating others also to eat, and eat like that. Now, here on this shloka, it is about Sattvic Ahar. And Sattvic Ahar, we all know that what is written in this shloka. I want to add something which is not obviously there. What is not obviously there is, I will tell you now, then you will say that, oh, this is a very controversial topic. Many people show off that they are on Sattvic diet. Many people take Sattvic diet uh, to show off that they want to increase their life, they want to stay healthy, they want to stay, they want to stay young and all these things. Yeah, you have to take good diet, you have to take Sattvic diet, but not for these intentions. So any kind of diet you are taking with any kind of intention, which is personal, not spiritual, not not holistic, it means that you are creating hypocrisy out of Sattvic Ahar also. That is no more a Sattvic Ahar, it is a Rajasic Ahar, because you have started thinking in selfish manner. So that is hypocrisy, that is arrogance of human beings. I hope that I have not hurt anybody's feelings, but that is the truth. And you should not eat diet. No, there's so many people. Oh, I am having sattvic food. I am having sprouted beans. I am having this. I am having that. I don't eat onion. I don't eat garlic. I don't eat non-veg. All those people are taking pride in what they are eating. That itself converts that ahara into rajasic ahara. Thank you very much. Next one.
Myself.
Please continue.
कट्व आम्ल लवणात् अति उष्ण तीक्ष्ण रूक्ष विदाहिनः आहारा राजसस्येष्टा दुःख शोकामय प्रदाः. The meaning of the shloka is katu, bitter, amla, sour, lavana, salty, ati, excessively, ushna, hot, tikshana, pungent, ruksha, dry, vidahina, burning, aharaha, food, rajasya, rajasic person, ishtaha, dear, dukkha, shoka, maya, pradaha, causing pain, sorrow, and disease. Food that is bitter, sour, salty, excessively hot, pungent, dry, and burning, all dear to the Rajasic person, causing pain, sorrow, and disease. Sri Krishna says that food which has sharp flavors and food that is excessively bitter, sour, and salty, spicy, and pungent food causes a burning sensation in the tongue and stomach and causes pain. Science tells us that the food we eat is transformed into energy that fuels the physical body. Only in our recent times has science acknowledged that there is also another energy imbued within our food of a far more subtle nature that influences not only the physical sphere of our being, but more importantly, the mental realm of our existence. They are admitting that the most profound and powerful effect food has on man occurs psychological pain of existence. The Ramana Maharshi always says that the quality of food is influences the mind. The mind feeds on the food consumed. Habit is only adjustment to the environment. It is the mind that matters. The fact is that the mind has been trained to think certain foods tasty and good. A pure diet not only elevates the quality of mind, but also keeps the body free from illness. Om Tat Sat Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Padmaji, for such a nice explanation that food influences our thought process. And somewhere our thought process attracts the kind of food we want. That is also there. There is another very interesting topic in this is that the balance of sattva, rajas, and tamas needs to be there. Even in the food also, there has to be a balance. Means sometimes no, a person who is too much sattvic nature has increased a lot in such a way that sattvic nature itself brings tamas. You think over it, okay? Whatever I am speaking, no, you can go and think over it. You will realize what I am trying to say is 100% correct, because this is what we do discuss when we try to understand personalities. So at that time we may have to give a rajasic food to that person to bring that person into rajasic mode slightly, so that the tamas which has happened because of sattva will come out. The person will come into that slight amount of, you know, some amount of uh, self respect, some amount of desire to continue on the life needs to be there, like that. So this is one. And overall rajasic food, yes, it is going to create greed, desire, kama, krodha, mada, moha, lobha, matsarya. It will create and dukkha, shoka, and these are the things which create ama. Ama means amavata is the thing which basically creates any kind of disease in the body. So, and it will develop that negative mindset, dominating mindset, that I want to dominate others. So that is the thing about a rajasic diet. Next one, we will go to the next one, last one for the day. Who is the last one? 10th shloka.
Gautam ji.
गौतम है क्या? नहीं है ना? गौतम अनम्यूट.
He is there.
जी नमस्ते सभी हेनरी बंधु.
नमस्ते नमस्ते. प्लीज कंटिन्यू.
ओके. अथो श्रीमद् भगवद गीता अथ सप्तदश अध्यायः गुणत्रय विभाग योगः. यत यामं गतरसम् उति पर्युषितं च यत उच्छिष्टं योऽपि च मध्यम भजनम तामस प्रियम. इस श्लोक का अर्थ है, जो भजन अधपक्का, रस रहित, दुर्गंध युक्त, बासी और उच्छिष्ट है तथा जो अपवित्र भी है, वह भजन तामस पुरुषों को प्रिय होता है। इसको अच्छे से समझने से, जैसे यतयामम पकने के लिए जिनको पूरा समय प्राप्त नहीं हुआ है, ऐसे अधपके या उचित समय से ज्यादा पके हुए, अथवा जिसका समय बीत गया है, ऐसे बिना ऋतु के पके हुए एवं ऋतु चले जाने पर फ्रीज आदि में रखे हुए साग फल आदि भोजन के पदार्थ, गतरसम माने धूप आदि से जिनका स्वाभाविक रस सूख गया है, अथवा मशीन आदि से जिनका सार खींच लिया गया है, ऐसे दूध फल आदि पदार्थ, पुति यानी सड़न से पैदा की गई मदिरा और स्वाभाविक दुर्गंध वाले प्याज लहसुन आदि पदार्थ, परियुषितम माने जल और नमक आदि से बनाए साग रोटी आदि रात बीतने पर बासी कहलाते हैं। लेकिन केवल शुद्ध दूध घी से बने हुए अथवा अग्नि पर पकाए हुए पेड़ा जलेबी लड्डू आदि जो पदार्थ है, उनमें जब तक विकृति नहीं आई है तब तक वे बासी नहीं माने जाते। ज्यादा समय रहने पर उनमें दुर्गंध आदि पैदा होने से वे भी बासी कहे जाएंगे। उच्छिष्टम भुक्तावशेष अर्थात भोजन के बाद पात्र में बचा हुआ अथवा जूठा हाथ लगा हुआ और जिसको गाय बिल्ली कुत्ता कुआ आदि पशु पक्षी देख ले सूंघ ले या खा ले, वह सब जूठन माना जाता है। अमेध्यम रज बीर्ज से पैदा हुए मांस मछली अंडा आदि महान अपवित्र पदार्थ जो मुर्दा है और छूने मात्र से स्नान करना पड़ता है। अपिच इन अवयवों के उपयोग से उन सब पदार्थों को ले लेना चाहिए जो शास्त्र निषिद्ध है। तो तामस प्रियम, तो तामस तम प्रधान मनुष्य को ये सब भोजन अति प्रिय लगता है। तो उपयुक्त भोजनों में से सात्विक भोजन भी अगर राग पूर्वक खाया जाए तो वह राजस हो जाता है, और लोलुपता वश अधिक खाया जाए तो वह तामस हो जाता है। ऐसे ही भिक्षु को विधि से प्राप्त भिक्षा आदि में रूखा सूखा तीखा और बासी भोजन प्राप्त हो जाए जो कि राजस तामस है, पर वह उसको भगवान की भोग लगाकर भगवान नाम लेते हुए खाए तो शुद्ध सात्विक बन जाता है। मनुष्य मात्र को अपने अपने रुचि अनुसार 3 तरह का भोजन प्रिय होता है। आहारस्तोपि सर्वस्य त्रिविधः भवति प्रियः। उस प्रियता से ही मनुष्य की निष्ठा की पहचान हो जाती है। प्रिय शब्द केवल 7वें श्लोक में ही नहीं है, प्रत्युत 8वें श्लोक में सात्विक प्रिय, 9वें श्लोक में राजस श्रेष्ठाः और 10वें श्लोक में भी तामस प्रिय है। तो प्रिय और इष्ट शब्द आए हैं सभी जगह जो रुचि का वाचक है। सात्विक भोजन का फल पहले और राजसिक भोजन का फल पीछे बताया गया है, क्योंकि सात्विक लोग जो है हमेशा भोजन करने से पहले उसका लाभ हानि ये सब ज्यादा विचार करते हैं। लेकिन राजसिक भोजन करने वाले जो होते हैं वो उतना जो भोजन का जो है जीवा का जो टेस्ट है और उसका देखने में बाहरी सुंदरता क्या है ये सब ज्यादा रखते हैं, इसलिए उस राजसिक भोजन का फल बाद में बताया गया है। लेकिन जो है लेकिन तामसिक भोजन का कोई फल जो है बताया ही नहीं गया, क्योंकि कारण तामस मूढ़ता के कारण तामस लोग हमेशा मूढ़ता के टाइप होते हैं। तामस मनुष्य भोजन और उसके परिणाम पर विचार करता ही नहीं, भोजन न्याययुक्त तो है या नहीं, इसमें उनका अधिकार है या नहीं, शास्त्रों की आज्ञा है या नहीं, उसमें हमारा अधिकार है या नहीं, हमारे मन बुद्धि के लिए बल का बढ़ाने में हेतु है या नहीं, इन सब का कुछ भी विचार न करके तामस मनुष्य पशु की तरह खाने प्रवृत्त होते हैं। यदि भगवान को यहाँ आहार का ही वर्णन करना होता तो वो तो वे आहार की विधि का और उसके लिए कर्मों की शुद्धि अशुद्धि का वर्णन करते। जैसे शुद्ध कर्मों के पैसों से अनाज आदि पवित्र खाद्य पदार्थ खरीदे जाए, रसोई में चौका देकर और स्वच्छ वस्त्र पहनकर पवित्रता पूर्वक भोजन बनाए जाए, भोजन को भगवान के अर्पण किया जाए तथा भगवान का चिंतन तथा उनके नाम का जप करते हुए प्रसाद बुद्धि से भोजन ग्रहण किया जाए, ऐसे भोजन सात्विक होता है। और स्वार्थ और अभिमान की मुख्यता को लेकर सत्य असत्य का कोई विचार न करते हुए पैसे कमाए जाए, स्वाद शरीर की पुष्टि, भोग भोगने की जो है सामर्थ्य बताने की आदि उद्देश्य लेकर भोजन पदार्थ खरीदे जाए, जिह्वा को स्वादिष्ट लगे और देखने में भी सुंदर दिखे, इस दृष्टि से रीति से उनको बनाया जाए और आसक्ति पूर्वक खाया जाए, वह भोजन राजस होता है। और झूठ कपट चोरी डकैती धोखेबाजी आदि किसी तरह से पैसे कमाए जाए, शुद्धि अशुद्धि का कुछ भी विचार न करके अंडे मांस आदि पदार्थ खरीदे जाए, विधि विधान का कोई भी ख्याल न करके भोजन बनाए जाए और बिना हाथ और पैर धोए एवं चप्पल जूती पहनकर ही अशुद्ध वातावरण में उसे खाया जाए, ऐसा भोजन तामस होता है। तो भोजन के लिए आवश्यक विचार उपनिषदों में भी आता है कि जैसा अन्न होता है वैसे हमारा मन बनता है। अन्नमयम ही संयमनः, अर्थात अन्न का असर मन पर पड़ता है। उसके बाद मन को शुद्ध बनाने के लिए भोजन शुद्ध पवित्र होना तो जरूरी है, कारण भोजन करते समय हमारा जो भोजन करते हैं तो हमारा जो प्राण है सभी अन्न तो ग्रहण करते ही हैं, तो शरीर के सभी रोम कूपों से आसपास के परमाणुओं को भी खींचते हैं, ग्रहण करते हैं। इसलिए जहाँ भोजन करते हैं वहाँ का स्थान, वायुमंडल, दृश्य तथा जिस पर बैठकर भोजन करते हैं वह आसन भी शुद्ध पवित्र होना चाहिए। भोजन बनाने वाले का मन भी शुद्ध सात्विक हो। भोजन के पहले दोनों हाथों, पैरों और मुख ये पांचों शुद्ध पवित्र जल से धो ले, फिर पूर्व या उत्तर की ओर मुख करके शुद्ध आसन पर बैठकर भोजन की सब चीजों को लेने से पहले पत्रम पुष्पम फलम तोयम यो मे भक्ता प्रयच्छति तदहम भक्ता उपहृतम स्नामि प्रयतात्मनः, इस श्लोक का उच्चारण करके यह श्लोक पढ़कर भगवान को अर्पण कर दे। अर्पण करने के बाद दाएं हाथ में जल लेकर ब्रह्मार्पणम ब्रह्म हविर ब्रह्मग्न ब्रह्मणाहुतम ब्रह्मैव तेन गंतव्यम ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना, ये श्लोक पढ़ना चाहिए। इसके बाद यह श्लोक आचमन करे और भोजन का पहला ग्रास भगवान का नाम लेकर ही मुख में डाले। उसके बाद प्रत्येक ग्रास को चबाते समय हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, इस मंत्र को मन से 2 बार पढ़ते हुए या अपने इष्ट को नाम लेते हुए भोजन को चबाए। क्योंकि देखिए हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे में 16 नाम है और 2 बार अगर इसको उच्चारण करेंगे तो 32 हो जाएगा। तो हमारे 32 दांत है तो उसको 32 बार भोजन को एक एक दाने को चबा सकते हैं। तो इस तरह भोजन करना चाहिए। तो आज इतना ही, इसी के साथ समाप्त करते हैं। धन्यवाद। सर्वम श्री कृष्ण अर्पणमस्तु।
भैया कौन सी किताब में से पढ़ते हो? गौतम गौतम
हाँ मोर जी।
हाँ, कौन सी किताब में से पढ़ते हो?
जी मैं बताया था आपको, राम सुखदास जी।
अच्छा, एक काम किया करो, उसमें से शॉर्ट कर लिया करो, कितना बोलना है।
मैं बहुत शॉर्ट कर दिया था, ये तो बहुत शॉर्ट में बोला मोहित जी, ये बहुत लंबा है और भी टाइम लग
हाँ,
जाता,
तो
मैं
उससे
शॉर्ट
भी
किया।
शॉर्ट बोलना है ना, 1 घंटे के अंदर खत्म करना है हमको, बराबर है कि नहीं?
ओके
हाँ,
ओके,
ठीक है, ओके।
ठीक है।
So thank you very much, Gautam, for such a nice, deep, detailed explanation of Shloka number 10. As Gautam has mentioned in
धन्यवाद।
the book, thank you very much. As Gautam has mentioned, that even if the food quality externally is pertaining to sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic, it is our attitude that determines that whether it is, whether it is sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic, like that. So even if the food is sattvic, if we are eating it with some rajasic mindset, then it becomes rajasic, like that. So on and so forth. With that understanding, we will pause here today, and we will come back next week from shloka number 11 to 20. Let us join our hands together, adopt Namaskar Mudra, Omkar followed by Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah.
ओम सर्वे
Sarve
भवन्तु सुखिनः,
Santu Niramaya. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. With your eyes closed, slowly take your both the hands back. Hold your right wrist with the left palm. Inhale, arch your back, look up. Exhale, bend from the root of the back. Touch your forehead to the ground. Express gratitude to Mother Earth for bringing your parents to you. Slowly inhale and come up. Slowly release your hands with few blinks. You may open your eyes. Namaste. Dhanyavad everybody. Thank you very much for joining in. And let us keep practicing, keep putting the practice of all the scriptures into our lives. Thank you very much.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ
धन्यवाद,
ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್. ಶುಭರಾತ್ರಿ.
Dhanyavad,
Thank you.
dhanyavad. Thank you very much.
Shubharatri.
धन्यवाद डॉक्टर।
Shubharatri.
Thank you.
शुभ रात्रि।
Dhanyavad, Shubharatri.
Thank you, Dr. Ji. Namaskar.
Dhanyavad, Shubharatri, Shubharatri.